that last few minutes of, I always thought the crowd was going to turn because it was Philly, and with the reveal of the White Rabbit and all that, and all the other iconography that was used, I really thought the crowd was going to turn, but it just crescendoed. Oh, that was awesome. So Extreme Rules. I actually wasn't supposed to be home today. We were supposed to be in Disneyland. Um, but something happened to my wife at work, so she just ended up having cervical spinal fusion a couple weeks ago. So no trip to Disney. But windows and doors. So Extreme Rules. Let me grab my book. I like to try to just make some basic notes because with this being Triple H wrestling, there's a lot more stuff that tends to happen with a lot fewer matches. So I think I'll go backwards with the card. Fight Pit. I mean, they've done a few Fight Pit matches before, like in NXT, and I don't know if it just has something to do with like Rollins not having that style that really works well without there being ropes. Like Riddle is good in this sort of environment because he's fought in places where there aren't ropes. It just, and even with Daniel Cormier in there, it seemed like it just some parts just didn't flow right. And building up to crescendo into the big spots, it didn't seem to hit like the way that they really hoped. But that Broton from the top of the Fight Pit, man, I really thought that either he had a broken tailbone or like a broken arm from the way he hit that. And that with the triangle choke at the end to get the big victory. Okay, not a bad match, but with the way this event it was underwhelming, except for like a few big moves towards the end. I'll save the I Quit match for last because that was a masterclass in storytelling. Beginning match, Brawling Brutes versus Imperium, and the 6-man Donnybrook match. Loved it. A lot of fishes back and forth. You can tell that these are three guys who went in the back and they went stiff and Gunther went, is there any other way? And they just brutalized each other. Crowd super hot for it, but you had guys who got they got to get all their stuff in, got to hit all their big moves, got to put people, jump off of barrels and beat each other with shillelaghs and jump off of everything, like sections of bar. It was a car crash with 6 people that was given plenty of time to breathe. The advantage of the Triple H era of WWE is we're not booking a ton of matches. We're booking matches that kind of make sense and then giving everything room to breathe. So Brawling Brutes got the victory, which of course is the way to kind of get their momentum back and their heat back from other things that happened previously in Battle Imperium. That was really well done. Great hot opener. Smackdown women's title match. Ronda Rousey versus Liv Morgan. The bat shots looked weird. I mean, this is Liv Morgan's run as a babyface champion has been bizarrely booked, but then again, it's been between 2 regimes. So who knows how Vince would have booked her, probably kind of into the ground. But, she kind of came into her own. I'm glad that they learned from the Alexa Bliss Bayley story where your babyface needs to show fire. They need to be okay with, I'm gonna get brutal, I'm gonna get violent in the ring, not I'm scared of a kendo stick and then losing the match. That transition towards the end with whatever they were going for with Ronda Rousey, like self-pretzeling, looked absolutely incredible. And you can tell like they're trying to go for something, and Ronda's trying to tell Liv what to do to not, separate her arm in like 17 places. and then got a really nice submission, and then you got to see Liv pass out with a smile on her face. That could be one of those, you lost the match, but you got the respect that you wanted. That's a story they're going for. Pretty close to it. Not bad. But Ronda's champion now. Cool. Who's the person's gonna be the next one to step up against her? I'm fine with that. If this is the time when Charlotte's dealing with other issues. I mean, if they bring somebody else in, bring somebody up, get somebody else, hot for between now and, now we've got Crown Jewel, and then after Crown Jewel, we go to Survivor Series. Survivor Series will not be like Versus, which, I mean, if it were to be, I wouldn't mind seeing the winner of like the Raw Women's match take on Ronda Rousey. Bailey Rousey, I think, would work. Belair Rousey would again be a fantastic match. So Rousey got the win. Okay, fine with that. Cool. Moving on. Women's ladder match. Wow, this was brilliantly booked. I saw this and I was like, where do you go from here? This match was so expertly booked. They played to everyone's strengths. Literally played to their strengths. Seeing Damage Control come down, but they already did the story where it's like, well, Belair doesn't have any friends. What's she going to do? And then the double KOD with, you can tell that she's got him up. And she's like, guys, I have you up. And you can tell that Dakota's like, okay, we have to get your leg here, Io Sky, to make this move work. And you can tell that Bianca's like, let me know when you guys are ready and I'll drop you. Just looked fantastic. That ending KOD while Bailey had a ladder. Whoa. Oh. It's like, a KOD is hard to take by itself just because it's a face bump. But doing that while holding a ladder is probably significantly more difficult. And Bailey, is a tank. Took it well. Fantastic match. Crowd was hot for it. I'm like, all right. I'm really cool with this. I'm digging this. They built up Bailey as being the one who's going to take the title from Belair. They did all the other work they needed to do to get everything set up for it. And Belair retained. Cool. Really, really fine with that. I'm glad with it. Now, of course, my Baruka screen is black, so do that. Get a little more light there. Okay. And I was like, man, that was really, really well done. Now going to the strap match. Strap matches are hard to do. When it first started, I told my wife and daughter, and I'm like, okay. I'm like, heel's not going to wear it. So what's going to happen is he's going to beat down the face. Face is going to get a little, basically just the right amount of comeback to it and throw the strap on. A match can begin. I couldn't tell if they had issues getting the strap to work in some spots. It's an animate object. If you're not used to like, okay, so you're going to tie me up against the post, you'll this much slack, and some spots just didn't work, but it's strap matches are hard. I mean, it's hard to do one well because you have this thing. It's like, okay, it's attached to our arms. Certain moves we can't do. We'll just need to beat each other a lot with the strap. When they tried to get inventive, they lost the crowd when they just went, you're gonna do what? What if I just smack you in the side of the face and the ear with the strap, and then you smack me back? So we just hockey fight in the middle ring with the leather strap? Yeah, let's do it instead. Okay. Having Scarlett get involved with pepper spray or mace, whatever it was, to then allow Cross to hit the cross hammer. It didn't look like he hit it as well as he wanted to. I mean, it's no hidden blade when it shouldn't be. No, you should not be trying to do a hidden blade. And I was like, okay, this was fine. This was the big debut for Karrion Kross. He looked good throughout the majority of the match. Finish didn't do him a lot of good. It's like, if you want to get a guy over, they already did the shoulder injury. They did enough things to make Drew look fine. If something went wrong, that's like, you have to make Drew has to be able to survive the loss, which he can do. It's not hard to heat Drew back up, but also make Karrion Kross look like someone who's going to be really dangerous. And I don't think they successfully did that in this match. Karrion's got a much better run now than he did when he was in the weird, like Gags the Lucha gimmick he was in earlier. But I mean, this is better, but it's not the level he was in NXT where he was just a flat out world beater. But match was fine. It worked. You can tell the crowd wasn't super into it. Happens. I Quit match. Balor and Edge. Whoa. Whoever booked this match had like went, okay. What's everything that's happened? Well, he's got a full group. Okay, so we'll do a walk-in fight. We'll do a brawl. They'll fight all over the place. This is their first time fighting. We're also in Philly, so we got someone with a hockey stick. Judgment Day's to do a run-in. Edge has to kind of fight out Judgment Day, but there's also Rey Mysterio, have him get involved somewhere towards the end of the match. What are you do about this stopping Rhea Ripley? Then they brought in Beth Phoenix. And then as soon as Beth Phoenix got involved, and all of them started just to start beating down on Edge again, I was like, oh man, they're gonna work Beth. Seeing Beth and Ripley was fantastic. I was like, oh, I'm waiting for this. I'm waiting for Beth to get involved in this feud. And seeing her Ripley was fantastic. I'm like, if they want to write them out for a little bit so they can, spend Thanksgiving and Christmas with their kids, totally fine with that. And then you have Beth make her return at the Royal Rumble and take out Rhea Ripley. I'm fine with that. Same with Edge. Have Edge come down, have Edge take out some Judgment Day. Cool. Then if they want to do, like Mysterio, somebody else, and Beth Phoenix with Edge taking on Judgment Day at, I could make it a chamber match, something crazy, or have that happen at WrestleMania. It'd be fine too. This is Edge. He's not going to be there every week, so they can do long-term booking with it. And I'm fine with it. But you knew as soon as Ripley laid out Beth, you're like, oh, the finish is going to be, we're going to cripple your wife. Had them set the concerto. It's like, you quit? We'll do it. We'll flat out do it. I'm like, they're going to do it anyways because it's the heel thing. And then that bit afterwards, I'm like, believe in Edge and everything. I was like, oh, so well done. Oh. Even stuff with Miz and Gritty, nice. It was one of those things where, like, we needed a storyline throughout the night with Miz and Gritty. It was me like, no, I know you're Dexter Lumis. I know you are. I know you're Dexter Lumis. I know you are. And then of it not being Dexter Lumis, and then Lumis knocking him out, and then he and Gritty walking off into the sunset. I was fine with that. The White Rabbit reveal. Bray Wyatt, crowd freaking exploded. Oh, I'm thinking like, oh, they're crescendo to us, they're going to kill the crowd. And the crowd just went with it. And I don't know if someone was in the back going, let's draw us out another 30 seconds. Okay, a little bit longer. All right, open the door. All right, walk with a lantern. And the weird black phone mask on. Okay, take the mask off. Blow out the lantern. Fade to black. In fact, they even did the little icon in the corner as Riddle was going away. And they did that, and I was like, are we still in the air? We're still in the air? I was like, that makes me almost think that the Clash at the Castle bit wasn't originally planned, but it happened, and H went, what if you do that? What? This is like our post-credit sequence. Everyone knows that, like, when the thing goes in the bottom of the screen, like, there's 30 seconds left, we're going to do one last bit. What if we did like a mid-credit sequence? What if we works for Marvel? What if we just did a bit like after we're done? And so incredible. I'm like, oh, season premiere of Raw. And I'm thinking if they start, chanting, scissor me when it's the DX reunion, you'd have Bray come down. And they functionally gave him like a group. Because they had all of the other characters. And I was like, this could be good to see Eric Rowan, Braun Strowman. This would also be a really good spot for Dominik Dijakovic. And they had a woman in there. Alexa Bliss ain't doing a whole lot right now. could work. Just saying. And we are heading into a War Games. Wyatt family versus another group. Maybe that's when we do a Judgment Day thing. Here's a Bloodline thing. Maybe we do Imperium Brawling Brutes in a War Games. Maybe we throw in Legado de Fantasma in there somehow. Maybe Hit Row finds another member. And then they take on Legado with Selena Vega. I don't know. Lot of things moving on. A lot of different parts and pieces they can go with. And, maybe when the Viking Raiders come back and they have their Valkyrie with them. There's a lot of really good stuff going on. Very, very solid event. Very solid event. Even the things that were good seemed really bad because everything else on this card was really, really well done.